Hey, it's Cobra here at MaddenGuides.com, and for this Madden 22 defensive plays video breakdown, want to take a look at the nickel wide 9 Tampa 2 contain, and what we're going to show you is how to get some inside pressure from the weak side defensive tackle. And I think you guys will like this one because it comes through the B gap, but you may also get some pressure coming from the A gap or the C gap, depending on what happens as far as the blocking and how it sets up. Before we do that, let's go ahead and take a look at the play diagram and the play info for this particular play. Again, it's called Tampa 2 Contain. You'll find this out the nickel wide 9. The personnel is 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. Coverage type is zone. Coverage shell is cover 2. Blitz type, there is no blitz, at least actually as far as initially, but we'll make it turn into a blitz. The gap pressure, there is no gap pressure since there's no blitz. You've got 4 pass rushers and 7 pass defenders. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the playbooks that you'll find this particular play in. And as you look at it, you can see there's several different defensive playbooks that have this particular play in it. We're going to use the Dallas Cowboys playbook as far as on the defensive side. So let's go ahead and get into it and just take a look at how we're going to set this one up. And again, I think you guys will enjoy this one. Now, I will say this. The pressure, even though it can come from the weak side defensive tackle, it doesn't always, like I said before, it can come from the A gap. It can come from the C gap. It really all depends on the blocking and how that works out for you. All right, so here it is. You can see on your screen right there. It's the nickel wide 9 Tampa 2 contain. We're going to go ahead and call that play on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm going to go ahead and use the gun bunch formation, and we're going to call this the spacing switch. We're also going to use the Cowboys offensive playbook, and you'll notice we got both the Cowboys on both sides of the ball here as you look at your screen. All right. Now, if you look at this particular defense, as you know, Tampa 2, you end up having 2 defenders that are playing deep zone coverage. You have 2 defenders playing the flats, and you have 3 guys playing hook zones underneath, and then you have that 4-man pass rush. All right, so when you look at it, you're not going to get any pressure with this particular defense unless you manually pass rush one of those defensive ends and some of the things I've shown you do in previous videos. However, what you can do here is you can do this, and this is the cool thing about the defense here as far as the nickel wide 9. You can actually turn this into a double A gap look out of the nickel without audibling into the nickel double A gap. And to do that, the first thing you want to make sure is you do not have, I repeat, do not have auto flip on. I hate auto flip. As you know, do not have the auto defensive flip on. All right, what you're going to do here to set this up is if you don't already have base align on, then you'll need to go ahead and make this the first step that I'm about to show. So I'm going to go ahead and put base align. The next thing I want to do, and this is where you're going to get the double A gap look, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So these 2 linebackers are actually going to come up into the gap. So you're going to go ahead and press down on the RB or the R1, depending on what console you're playing on. And then you're going to press down on the left stick, and that's going to pinch the defense. And you're going to notice that those 2 linebackers, as you look at it now, they are both in the A gap. Now, at this point, obviously, they're not rushing. So the next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and press right on the D-pad, and then we're going to press down on the right stick, and that's going to get them to blitz. Now, as you're looking at this particular defense, you're going to notice that we only have 1 defender dropping back in the hook zone. We cannot have that. We need to have at least 2. So the defender that we need to have dropping back is either going to be this guy right here. Now, this is the one I normally will do this with. It's going to be the strong side defensive tackle, but you can do it with this guy, which is the left end, but I suggest going ahead and doing it with the weak side defensive tackle. Now, you're going to go ahead and put him in a vertical hook, and then what you're going to do is you're going to slide him over just 1 notch. Now, I found that this works a little bit better. I'm not going to tell you, I don't know if it makes that much of a difference, but I usually do it this way anyway. So I'm going to do it for this video breakdown for the purposes of this setup. I'm going to slide him over 1 click over to the right. All right, there's the setup as you look at it. Now, as you'll notice, you've got these 2 defenders, the 2 defensive ends out here in QB contain. Now, in the nickel wide 9, they're actually linebackers. So just keep that in mind, even though I would say there's, I said in the beginning of it, there's 4 defensive linemen. Well, technically, because they're down in 3-point stance, I'm just going to go ahead and call them that. But actually, you end up having 2 linebackers at the defensive end spot. So just keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to go ahead and run this. And as I said before, a lot of times the pressure may come from this guy right here. What he'll do is he'll slip through here and go after the quarterback. Now, if he doesn't get it, then it might come from the outside, which is going to be this, in this case, this defensive end as you look at him. Or you may end up getting it from this linebacker who may come through the A-gap. And other times you may not get any of them. I'll be honest with you. You may not always get them, because what it really all depends on is this guy right here, which is the right guard, what he decides to do. And if he decides to block out into this direction here, at least initially, as you look at your screen towards the right. So I'm hoping that he'll look to block over here. If he does so, then that's when you're going to get that pressure from one of those guys. Sometimes he doesn't always do that, and I don't know why, but that's just part of the thing. I will tell you this, if you're in practice mode, this pretty much works every single time. But in regular game mode, it does not work every single time. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and run it and just take a look at it. And there it is right there. There's the pressure. Now, there's something I just did there too, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second with this setup here. And I want to go ahead and show this to you guys. Let's go ahead and just take a look at this. And we're going to do it from behind here. We're going to take a look. I'm going to show you a couple different things here. All right, so you're going to notice that when that ball is snapped, I'm going to immediately, I swear, as soon as it snapped, I'm switching. I'm hitting that B button, I'm switching to another defender. I'm going to switch to the defender that's closest to the quarterback as soon as I hit it. If everything works out right, then it's going to go ahead and be the defender you guys see in this case here. It's going to go ahead and be this defensive lineman, this weak side defensive tackle. He's the one that's going to put the pressure on the quarterback if you get it right. And he's going to go straight through the A-gap, and bam, he's going to hit the quarterback. That's generally what will happen. Now, with that said, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes, like when you switch, you won't get to him. You'll end up switching over to the maybe to the right end. Now, I will tell you this. You may get that nano detection. And if you get that, and that's where you got to hurry up and switch, because the quicker you can switch, it bypasses, because you can stay in control of them, and then you can actually sprint towards the quarterback. If you allow the defensive lineman to get that nano detection while you're not in control of them, then he'll slow down. You won't even get the pressure. Matter of fact, the left guard will end up blocking him. So that's really the key right there. Let's go ahead and do it again. Same thing. We're going to do the same setup. So again, I'm going to make this real quick for you guys so you guys can see. So we're going to go ahead and hit base of line. Go ahead and shift the defensive line. We're going to go ahead and put this guy. Again, this is the I'm sorry. I keep saying weak side defensive tackle. What I really mean to say is strong side defensive tackle. So make sure you take control of the strong side defensive tackle, such as what I did on the screen right there. Move him over. Make sure you got those linebackers blitzing. And there's the setup right there. So let's go ahead and do the same thing again. And that time I didn't get it. And that's what I just talked about. You don't always get it consistently with it. And that's the downside. Let's go ahead and do it again. Same thing again. So again, we're going to go ahead and hit base line. Go ahead and pinch the shift the defense line down, such as what you see on your screen. Go ahead and hot route the linebackers to blitz. Slide this guy over. Go ahead and put him in a vertical hook. And then you're just going to snap it, and then you're going to hope that he can get through, and bam, got through again. So out of the 3 times I've shown this so far, I've gotten pressure 3 times, or 2 out of the 3 times. Now, I think I'm trying to think of what I want to talk about next, but let me go in here into the coaching adjustments, and I want to talk about this as far as, or coaching, not adjustments, but the depth chart. I want to go ahead and show you something here just real quick, so you guys are just wondering here. The defender right now that's actually getting the pressure here is going to be Osa Adaziwa. I can't even pronounce him. But you're going to notice he's got 77 speed right there. Now, I didn't do anything as far as subs or anything like that. I just went with what I got. However, if you go back in here, one of the things you can do, let's go ahead and punt this, is you could put a faster defensive end into that position, or defensive lineman, whatever you may have. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and move over DeMarcus Lawrence in here in just a second. And he's just a tad faster, but that means you can get there a little bit quicker. So that's something else you can do. And it's not going to affect the blitz all that much. Matter of fact, it probably will help because he'll get through the line quicker as far as getting to the quarterback. So, definitely something you can consider doing as far as with this setup. So I want to point that out to you. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So let's go into our adjustments here and go ahead and make an adjustment. So again, we're going to go into the nickel wide 9. We're going to go ahead and get this guy out. This time it's a totally different defender, but we're going to make DeMarcus Lawrence there at that spot. So you can see right there on your screen, it's going to be DeMarcus Lawrence. It's going to be the weak side defense. We're going to make him at the weak side defensive tackle position. So let's go ahead and get back onto the screen. And I'll tell you another thing. I know there are other defenses in this particular formation, but this is the one that I found that works pretty more consistent than anything else that I can find. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you try some other defense, like for example the cover 3 buzz 2, you might not get the same success. So just keep that in mind. It's best with this particular defense right out of the nickel Y9, which is the Tampa 2 contain. That's the one it seems to work with when you're doing this. So we're going to go ahead and run this again, and we'll go ahead and run it against the gun formation. Let's run it against a different one this time, because this is something else I will say, that as much as I like to tell you it's going to work every single time, it doesn't. And that's why it's not. Matter of fact, I was debating on showing this to you guys. I wasn't real sure if I wanted to show this to you, because I didn't know for sure if it was something that it wasn't as consistent as maybe I like it to be, but it certainly does work. So we're going to go ahead and do the same setup here, as you can see on your screen. And then we're going to come off here. This time we're going to switch, and this time we got pressure coming from a couple different guys there. And this time when I switch, you'll notice that I actually end up getting the outside defensive end there, which is going to be Parsons, which is still good for me because he's super fast too, and I don't care. I get both of them. I got 2 guys on that one. I'll take that all day. So that's the nice thing about that. Let's go ahead and do it again. Same setup. We'll run against the flanker spot, all the offset. That's how quick you can set this one up. It's pretty quick. You saw me just set that up, and I'm an old man, and yet I can still set this up pretty quick. So I think you guys who are faster on the trigger. Oh, there it was. There's the Nano Detection. I didn't switch off fast enough that time, as you saw. And I still got to him, but let's go back and instant replay. And that's what I was talking about as far as the Nano Detection. If you don't switch off fast enough, that's what happens. You get this Nano Detection crap right there. See how he stops? That's no good. We don't like that. That's why you got to switch off super fast. I was a little slow on the trigger, and that's what happens to me. I still got in, but it wasn't that super quick pressure I've been showing here. Let's go ahead and do it again. Same setup. Just got to be quick when you do this. There it is. There's setup. Bam, that easy. Less than, what, 3 seconds for me to set that up. And that time I didn't get any pressure that time. So that's as I said before, let's go ahead and throw it away here. Oh, got it. But let's go ahead and run it one more time here. We'll see if we can get the same kind of pressure here. And like I said, I haven't even seen the linebacker come in yet as far as with this defense. As far as with this setup here. I haven't even seen the linebacker shoot through the A-gap. Sometimes, as I mentioned earlier, this linebacker will shoot through the A-gap, and that's the guy you'll get pressure. Maybe we'll get it this time. I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Let's see what happens. Oh, got that guy. Bam, sacked. So I don't know how many times I've ran this, but probably, what, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and I've gotten pressure pretty much every single time but once or twice. So you can see that the pressure is certainly there with this particular defense. Let's go look at one last thing here. And I want to show you guys something, as I was talking about earlier in instant replay. It's really kind of a key to this as far as bringing pressure on a quarterback. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. As far as what this setup is concerned, let's go ahead and instant replay. Take a look at this. Remember I talked about this guy right here? This is really the key to this, and this is going to be this guy here. That's the right guard. You got to make sure. See how he kind of just steps back a second? And that's the key right there. Sometimes, if at least as long as he goes after that direction. Now, that time he really didn't go after me like I want him to, but it still works. I really like them to go after my guy that I'm in control of, but that's fine because it allows me to get that, and it still works out the way I want it. So that's really what you're looking for. Now, I'll show you one last setup just real quick. Now, I want to go ahead and just show real quick here in the breakdown, and then we'll be done with this breakdown here. Let me go back into the, if you want to get it where it's real consistent, let's go back into the wide 9. I'm just want to throw out one last thing for you. So let's go ahead and call baseline. Go ahead and do this. Same setup. And then I talked about the defensive end as far as what the pressure is concerned. What you can do is you can switch over here and do this, but I found that this guy's not as consistent with this setup as far as with it. So I want to point that out. However, if you're going to be in control of him, what I suggest doing is press. Now, you notice right now, you just saw him moving around a little bit. See how he's moving? I'm actually pressing down on the right stick or left stick before the snap. And if you do this, you may get something like this. That didn't come through. But sometimes you may end up getting pressure off from the outside linebacker by doing that. I mean, not outside linebacker, but the right end may come in off the edge. I'm not going to guarantee it. That's why I suggest when you run this that you have the strong side defensive tackle doing it. Let's go ahead and do this one more time here. And I do need to show you a couple more things. I keep thinking about things I wanted to show as I was doing this breakdown. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to this guy. I'm not going to hot route him this time. I'm going to put him in this thing right here. So I've got him blitzing. Now, if you decide to go this route, there's a downside to this because now you notice you don't got any coverage over the middle. But if you do this, then you are going to get some nice pressure coming off the edge real quick. It's always going to be this guy right here then. Let's go ahead and run it. And if you do this, this is what you'd have to do. There's the pressure. And then you're going to have to drop that guy back. All right? So let's go ahead and run that one more time. So you can go ahead and do what I did there. And then you can go ahead and run it like this. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to drop him back as soon as the ball snapped. You're just going to drop him back, and then you're going to get that edge pressure and like that. So if you want to always get guaranteed pressure, all you got to do is go ahead and baseline it, go ahead and crash, or go ahead and pinch the defense, and that's it. And then make sure you hot route the linebackers to blitz. And then you're always going to guarantee to get edge pressure coming off the edge here from this guy right here. Always is going to be this way. It always works out this way. And then you're just going to drop him back into coverage, just like that. All right, so that's it on that as far as that setup goes. So that's another way you can do it. It's consistent, always going to work, always going to get pressure from the right end. All right, the last thing I want to show here with this setup here is what happens if the running back stays in the pass block. So that's one thing I want to point out. So let's go back into the bunch, and let's go ahead and run a play where, let's run a bunch trail. So this has the, no, let's run the regular trail. This has the running back staying in the pass block, as you can see on your screen. And so I want to show you guys what will happen. Now, this is what I've seen with it, but I want to show you guys. So we're going to go ahead and do the setup here. All right, there's that. We're hot route the linebackers to blitz. Slide him over. And what should happen here is, if we're going to go ahead and show it to you, is that this guy right here, the running back, he should step up and block the nose tackle, or not the nose, the weak side defense tackle as he comes in, or possibly maybe the linebacker. That almost seems like what's pretty consistent with this. So let's go ahead and run this. There it is right there. He blocks the linebacker. So that's the downside of that. You may not get pressure like that if you do that. If you go ahead and, if that running back's staying in the pass block, then there's a good chance that it's not going to work because that running back's going to pick up the blitz. And then it's not, all of what I've just shown you guys is pretty much doesn't mean anything. So I want to point that out to you that it really doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and run. Let's go ahead and do it one more time here from the bunch formation. Let's run from the trips. Never mind. Let's do it from the trips. And so let's run it from this level cell. I'm going to leave the. I'm going to go ahead and have the running back staying in the pass block. I'm going to hot route him. So let's go back into the wide 9 again. Same setup. All right, there's that. And then I'm going to hot route this running back to stay in the pass block. All right, let's go ahead and run this and see what happens with it. And the running back should, yeah, see, it's the same thing, pretty consistent with that. So the running back's going to block it, and it's usually going to be, most of the time, it's going to either be the linebacker or the weak side defensive tackle. So just keep that in mind. If it gets blocked, that's why. So at any rate, guys, I know this is kind of a long video breakdown, but I wanted to go ahead and get into it and show you guys kind of the X's and O's behind it and why it works and why it doesn't work. And that should pretty much do it as far as with this breakdown. I do want to mention to you guys, you know, for you guys who are traveling this weekend for Thanksgiving or this next couple days, please be safe. Don't want to lose any of you guys out there who like to watch my stuff. And do, you know, I appreciate it. So again, happy Thanksgiving to your guys, as family, and to you. I appreciate you guys watching the video breakdowns here on the Madden Guides YouTube channel. And I'll see you guys after Thanksgiving, because this is my last video until I get back from my little time away from the computer, away from the Xbox. I'm going to enjoy my Thanksgiving as well, and eat a lot of turkey. So guys, thanks again, guys, for hanging out.